something to write on, please get that out now, because we're going to get going with our guest speaker and some goal setting and some team building. That's what we're going to be doing with the rest of our time today. We're going to take as much time as we need. We may get on the field, we may not, but this is very, very important what we're about to do. So we're going to need your undivided attention and your undivided engagement. Okay, I would imagine there's going to be some back and forth. I'm going to introduce our speaker. Her name is Veronica Karaman. Pronounce that correctly? Veronica Karaman. She is who I shared with you about yesterday. She's a performance coach, a Christian performance coach. So we're really excited to have her. She works with a lot of athletes and has been working with a lot of athletes for a really long time. Primarily, she's been working with golfers. Anybody golf in here? Anybody know how to golf? It's okay if you do. It's okay if you do. Well, great. Golf is one of those sports that you can play for a really long time. So listen. What I shared with you yesterday is still true today. Veronica has competed at the highest of levels in golf. At the U.S. Open, which is comparable to the Women's World Cup. Who knows who Alex Morgan is in this room? You've heard of Alex Morgan? This is the Alex Morgan of golf, okay? So she has a lot of experience in sports, and she has a lot of experience in coaching, and we're excited to have her here today so that she can help us grow in the mental game, in the emotional game, in the physical game, and most importantly, in the spiritual game, okay? I'll let you fill in any gaps that I might have missed.
And win!
Yes! That's why we compete. We don't just go out on the field to wonder what's going to happen next. We always go out on the field to try to win. Okay? So I'm going to pass it to her, and she's going to take us through the next probably 45 minutes or more. Okay?
Hello, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, what great. I'm so delighted to be with Charlotte Christian Girls Middle School Soccer Champions. How does that sound? Does that sound good?
Yes.
How many of you, when I say the word champion, like that feels good to you? You see yourself that way? Well, I have been all about the business of developing, cultivating, growing competitors into champions. And I'm here today, particularly on Valentine's Day. I'm so excited because I not only love sports, as you love soccer, my game has been golf, but I love God. So how many here you love God? Oh, got real quiet. How many of you love soccer? Yeah. And how many of you know how those two things work together? So today I'm going to give you introductory training that's taken me about 40 years to figure out. And so if I can pass along some wisdom to you after being on the road to championship for a very long time, I think this time would be well deserved. So I don't know how many of you have any old chocolate in you, and you know it's after school, but if you can get this inside of you, trust me, it will change your life, and also really help create a successful season for your soccer team. So the first thing I want to ask you is, there are two distinguishing features of champions. What are they? What do you think they are? What's number one? What sets a champion apart from someone else?
Perseverance.
Okay, perseverance. What else?
Being
Humble.
not like humble, but like confidence, but not cocky.
Confidence, but not cocky. What else? All right, well, I'm going to give you two words, and all of those are great answers, but two of the best distinguishing features are superior, everybody say, and superior passion. Okay? So anytime you can open up somebody's mind to a new possibility, which produces what? And help them take dead aim on a target at the same time, which creates more focus, and do those things at the same time. Everybody say same time.
Same time.
You will take a So, how many of you love to play soccer, but it's more kind of like a social thing? You love to get together with the girls, so your energy's all over the place, right? So what if we could take that energy and give it more focus and direct it towards a target? Yeah. Okay? So that's what we're going to do today. And I want to begin by actually showing you how peak performance happens. All right? So I'm going to give you a little story. And as you listen to this story, this actually was the beginning of my competitive journey. I want you to write down 5 ingredients that you hear from my story that go into a performance. If you're thinking about just baking a cake, you got to have some ingredients, right? What are some ingredients to bake a cake? Flour. Eggs. Sugar. Baking powder. Milk. An oven. That's good. Y'all have baked before. Well, there's ingredients that go into a performance. And a good coach will help you to identify what those ingredients are. And then I'm going to bring it back around to how that relates to loving God on this Valentine's Day. So here's the story. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, and when I did, I actually started putting when I was 5 years old. And my father placed a putter in my hand, and he'd go play for 4 hours, and I'd go putt for 4 hours straight. So either I was crazy or I had a passion. And when I got to be 14, I took up the whole game of golf, and when I was 17, I really got involved with competitive junior golf. And it always seemed that if I lost a tournament this one particular year, I would always lose to one person by one shot, and her name was Nancy Rubin. And after a while, I got tired of losing when I could be winning. So I got around to the West Penn Junior Amateur, and I was determined that if I got pitted against Nancy Rubin again, and we played match play, which means you don't play total score, you play person against person based on the hole, that I was going to win against Nancy Rubin. So we got to the West Penn Junior, and we get through with the match, and we're even. So I go to the next hole. It's called Sudden Death, which is the 19th hole, which is the first hole all over again. I hit my drive down the middle. She hits hers over in the rough. I'm on the green. She hits her shot in the sand trap. And I'm thinking, I'm finally get to be Nancy Rubin. So I get a par, which is a 4, is what you're supposed to get on the hole. She's in the trap. I'm thinking, there's no way she's going to get par. She hits out of the trap. She's got a 30-footer for par. I think it was a right. She goes up there and nails that putt right in the hole. Second hole. I tee off. She tees off. And it was a par 5, which means you're supposed to get 5 on the hole. Probably got a golfer in here. And for a split second, I let up on my concentration on my second shot, and the ball goes veering off to the right under a tree. A half hour later, the official comes out and deems my ball OB, which is out of bounds. OB, out of bounds. I end up getting a 7, she gets a 5, and I lose again to Nancy Rubin. And I'm hot. The next week is the most prestigious golf tournament in Western Pennsylvania. And I'm determined, if I get pitted again against Nancy Rubin, she doesn't know I'm making her favorites, I am going to win. I don't care if she has a 3, I'm going to have a 2. If she has a 2, I'm going to have a 1. If she has a 1, I'm going to have a 0. I'm not going down this time. So it gets to the semifinals of the West Penn Amateur, and guess who I have to play? Nancy Rubin. So we go through 18 holes, even. 19 holes, even. 20 holes, even. 21 holes, even. 22nd hole, par 3. She misses the green. I'm on 40 feet here to the wall. She makes a 4, and all I have to do is get down in 2 putts to be
Nancy Rubin.
So the first putt, I get up, and the ball goes, and it lands 4 feet from the cup. And all I have to do is make a 4-foot putt to finally be
Nancy Rubin.
So I take my practice putt, and I'm staring at that hole. Must have been for 5 minutes, thinking it was just going to get bigger the longer I stared at it. And it was a little left to right putt, and I take the putt, and the ball goes
Right in the
in the hole. And I finally get to be
Nancy!
Rubin. The only problem was it wasn't the end of the tournament. I thought I won the U.S. Open, World Cup, whatever you call it, but the next day I had to play in the finals against Judith Oliver III.
Judith Oliver.
That's a woman. That's the 7th ranked amateur in the United States. I'm the little pipsqueak on the other side of the tracks. So I get to the first tee, and I'm like, what's my mindset now? And I thought, I'll just do my best. So we get to the 14th hole, and I'm 1 up on the 7th ranked amateur in the United States. She hits her ball OB, which is, oh, y'all got to be golfers now. I hit my drive a little off the fairway, and all I had to do, because she hit her ball OB, she was going to probably end up with a 6. So all I have to do is lay up short of the green. I can get a 5, which is a bogey, and win the hole. But I didn't ask my caddy what advice to take. I didn't ask him what club to take. I just hit a shot, and I tell you, I hit the freakiest shot I've ever hit in my entire life. My 3-wood hits the lip of the sand trap, like the very lip in front of me, makes a reverse L, and ends up under a tree. A half hour later, the official comes out and deems my ball out of bounds. We have a horrendous hole. We get to the green, and she turns to me and goes, "You're on in 7 and I'm on in 6. No. Second time, "You're on in 7, I'm on in 6. All of a sudden, the fear starts creeping up. I've never been in this place before. I'm like, no. It's the 3rd time. She goes, "You're on in 7, I'm on in 6. By that time, I had to make a decision. I didn't know what to do. There's 100 people standing around. I'm in the tension of a championship. And this was my exact thought. Actually, I was 18 years old. My exact thought. She must know what she's talking about. She's more experienced than I am. We get to the green. We conceded putts, which meant we both gave one another our putts, and the person who wins the hole tees off first. So she tees off first. Everybody's looking around saying, "Why did she tee off first?" I said, "She won the hole." They said, "No, she didn't. You were both on in the same number of strokes." But because I listened to her, I lost the hole. She goes on to win the tournament by a narrow margin. And I lost when I could have won. And my losing had absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I wasn't skillful, that I wasn't in a position to win. I lost why? I listened to my opponent tell me what the score was. In sports, don't listen to your opponent tell you what the score is. But I place more confidence in my opponent than where? In myself. And that day taught me that how you see yourself, which is called identity, drives everything. So how do you see yourself? How do you see yourself? So, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to write down 5 factors, 5 ingredients, 5 things from either the Nancy Rubin story or the Judith Oliver story that influences a performance. I'm gonna, hello. So I'll tell you what. Why don't we just, if you know of one, just go ahead and tell me one. Yeah. Passion. Yeah.
Determination.
Determination. Yeah.
Self-confidence.
Self-confidence. Yeah.
Concentration.
Concentration.
Mindset.
Mindset. Commitment. Y'all are good. Identity. Yes. Confidence. I think we have that one. What else?
Practice.
Practice. Gotta have that practice in there. What else? Focus. Where'd you get that word from? What, dear? Ask for help. What else? What else goes into a performance? Skill? Yeah, skill. Yeah,
Perseverance.
perseverance. How about competitive mindset? I like to compete, right? I'll put competitive. There's a few more. Love for the game. I got room for a few more. What?
Like
Bringing God into the picture? You want to say faith?
Yes.
Faith. Is faith a good one?
Yes.
Okay. You gotta have faith if you're going to Charlotte Christian and play sports. Yeah. Composure. Ooh. Yeah.
Sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship. By the way, Nancy Rubin and I are good friends today. We were good friends then, but on the golf course.
Is she in your book?
Is she in my book? That's a really good question. Yeah, I put the story in the book. Yeah. Yes.
Positive attitude.
Positive attitude. So when you think about competing or playing, there's a lot of different factors that go into performance, isn't there? And guess what? You gotta have all of them. So if I were to take all of these different factors, passion, competitive mindset, determination, self-confidence, ask for help, practice, skill, composure, faith, perseverance, sportsmanship, every one of these factors falls into 4 different categories. And I'm going to tell you what they are. Can anybody guess?
Mindset.
Close. That's part of it.
Perseverance.
That goes into the category. The first one,
Expectation.
that's a good one. The first one is what I call physical. The second one is mental. What's the third one? Emotional. What's the fourth one?
Spiritual.
Oh, you guys are smart. Every one of those attributes falls into these what I call champion zones. Everybody say champion zones. If you get this, you'll be miles ahead of a lot of pros, because I didn't even know this till physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Peak performance happens from a place of being fully engaged. Say fully engaged.
Fully engaged.
To be fully engaged is to be physically energized, mentally focused, emotionally connected, and spiritually aligned. And you want to find a process, say process, in each one of these champion zones and do them concurrently. And that's when you take a leap. A lake. Not just a leap, a lake. A leap. It's probably more my resident. Yeah, you didn't say that, that's how I heard it. Okay. So get this. The physical is skill sets, fitness, nutrition, and energy management. I'm going to give you a handout in a bit. So when we talk about skills, practice, all your tactics, like what is one of the biggest skills you have to have in soccer? Skill, physical skill. Footwork. What about footwork? Raise your hand. Yeah?
You have to be able to get around.
So dexterity, right? Yeah. Control. Okay? All right, so this is, for you, let's just say it's footwork. Mental is focus, you can write this down, focus, concentration, champion mindsets. Focus, concentration, champion mindsets. I had a player recently who was in a position to win a tournament, and he got to the second day and he lost. And you know why he lost? Because he never thought about winning, never entered his mind. Okay, he was playing to play instead of playing to win. Emotional, I call, you can write down disempowering versus empowering emotions. What's a disempowering emotion? Can you give me an example?
Feeling defeated.
Defeat. What else? That's kind of, oh, okay, that's holding on to something. That's more mental, but an actual emotion. Anger. Fear. Okay. What's an example of an empowering emotion? Confidence. Excitement. Challenge. Calm. The state of peak performance, get this, the emotional state of peak performance is calm concentration. Calm concentration. If you can play with calm concentration, you are playing in a state of peak performance. How many of you watch the Super Bowl? Do you know what Patrick Mahomes said afterwards in his post-game commentary? And they were saying, well, what'd you do with the pressure, at halftime when you were down, or were they down by 10? He goes, I just wanted to be calm. I didn't want to push or press. I just wanted the game to come to me. That is someone who has mastery, right? Is called an ideal performance state. Spiritual in performance is identity, values, and higher purpose. Do you see yourself as a champion? What are your values when you play? There's a lot of cheating that goes on in golf. You know what I'm saying? All about soccer, probably not that way. But honesty, integrity, and higher purpose. Why do you play the game? What is your purpose for playing beyond yourself? Okay? And of course, what is our higher purpose? Yeah, play for the glory of God. All right? So this is where loving the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength comes in. And what's interesting is, think about that scripture. To love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength. Isn't that interesting that we're commanded to be fully engaged in our love for God? And the way you get into peak performance is to be fully engaged with all of who you are. Make sense? Does this help clarify some things for you all? Okay. So the idea is, what good is it if I have a great skill set, but I don't have focus? Peak performance? No. What if I have a great skill set, I can focus, but I get angry or defeated? Peak performance? No. What if I have a great skill set, I'm focused and I'm calm, but I don't believe in myself? Peak performance? No. Okay. So what if this team could get all in the same zone together this season? And together as a team, you got fully engaged with taking dead aim on a target. What could you do?
Destroy.
So here's the deal. I know a lot of you here, I call it like your social athletes. You like coming together because you enjoy the sport. But what if, as a team, you took this and got really clear on a process in each one of these zones, and you did them as a team? How would that, what do you think you could do if you did that? What would the outcome be? You won 2 games last year, right? How many games do you think you could win this year?
More than 2.
More than 2. How many more than 2? Oh, you won
5.
all of them. And what if you added this dimension of faith to your zones? I'm going to give you an example. And Coach Sam is doing something beautiful for all of you on Valentine's Day. You're actually all going to get a copy of my latest book called God Make Me a Champion. And in this, I share my story. The one I shared with you is just one of the stories. But also in the story, I share how I went from debilitating chronic fatigue with not even being able to lift my head off the pillow to the U.S. Open in 6 months. And one of the stories that I love the most is the story of a 14-year-old, Cameron Hackman. And Cameron came to me, I had helped his brother. And Cameron was just a natural athlete. But Cameron loved fishing more than golf. So one of my goals was to get him to love golf more than fishing. But he didn't have any of this. He didn't have the focus, the concentration, the diligence of a successful athlete. But I said to him on the first session, I said, Cameron, what's your dream? He said to win the Montana State High School Championship as a freshman. I was like, a 14-year-old that knows what he wants? I said, this is great, you have a dream. I said, and I'm going to help you accomplish that dream. So Cameron started off shooting around 82, and for 7 months I worked with him. We work on his focus, his concentration, creating an ideal performance state. Cameron loved God, so we prayed over all of his processes. He was a natural athlete, but he needed to improve his skill. So it was 2 months before the championship, which was in October, and he called me up and he did one thing. Who was the girl that said, ask for help? Yeah, he asked for help. He said, Coach, man, it was really bad. I said, what happened? He said, man, I just bombed in that tournament. I said, well, tell me about it. And I said, but we're gonna look at why you feel so bad and defeated and discouraged by looking at your champion zones. So I said to him, how much of how you played? He goes, I shot 82. He said the world was gonna end. I said, how much of that 82 was from the physical zone? Man, I got really sick. I was so sick I couldn't do anything. 90%. I said, boy, I'm gonna smack you upside your head. You are a human being, you got sick, stop being discouraged and defeated, get your butt back in the game and go after it. And so he woke up, and got back in the game. But I knew I had to get rid of that what? Disempowering emotion of defeat if he was going to be on the road in this championship. So he gets to the Montana State High School Championship. He did not compare himself to anybody. In fact, he was like a young David getting ready to slay Goliath because all the boys were bigger and older than he was, and he didn't know anybody. So he stopped looking to the left and to the right, and it was him, the course, and God. So guess what happened? He won. He won! He shoots 67 the second day, 6 birdies, wins by like 7 shots. It's a story for the ages. I said, Cameron, that is incredible. That is the most amazing story because he did his zones. He played as a surrendered athlete, placed his faith in God. And do you know what Cameron said to me after that? He goes, Coach, it matters, but it really doesn't matter. All that matters is God and family. And what did that tell you about his priorities?
Fishing.
Well, he ended up loving golf more than fishing from that. But what I'm telling you is, because he loved God, he didn't compare himself to anybody or anything else, and he just played. So what if your team did what Cameron did? And you all got on the same page. So I need help, but there's other handouts here. There's another handout. Is Coach Sam around? There's one more handout I want you to get. Is this helping you? So let me ask you, which one of these do you need to master the most? Okay. How many of you would say physical? You need to get your skills set up. So you can be honest. Do you have the champion zone? The other handout?
No, I only got one handout. I got that.
You only got one handout.
Is there another handout?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. We can do it without it.
Okay.
How many would you say I need to work on my focus and concentration? Okay. How many of you need to say I need to be calm? I need to get rid of the defeat. What's your most disempowering emotion?
Thinking everyone else is better.
Okay, so that's inadequacy. Okay, so you don't need you can flip that switch. And spiritual, how many here? You need to strengthen your identity. Okay, so do you want me to give you your zones? I'll give them to you because Coach Sam and we had a good conversation. So the first one is footwork. Sam, you were talking about each of them getting what?
Guys, we are going to get collectively 1 million touches this season. Collectively, 1 million additional touches this season. That might seem like a really big number, but between now and the end of the season, if you guys individually touched a ball
got real quiet here.
Seems like a big number, but we'll break it down day by day. And we're gonna compete with it too. We're gonna divide the group in half and see who can get to 1,000,000 touches first.
Okay, so physical is, let everybody say footwork. And I'm going to add something to that. I'm going to call force of footwork. Everybody say force of footwork. And we originally talked about getting at least 100 extra touches a day. You can do that, right? Focus. Is that a good one? Yeah, really get focused. So not just going out to play as a social player, but kind of having a competitive mindset, right? How many of you could amp up your competitive mindset? Yeah. And I know that you like to have fun. So fun's a good one for emotions, right? You don't want to give that up. You want to have fun. And guess what the spiritual is? For him. For him. To do all of that for him. I love what it says in Romans 12:1-2. By the mercies of God, I beseech you, brethren, to present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God, which is your spiritual worship. Which means we're to bring everything we are, all of our faculties, and present them as an offering to God. As we do it as unto him. Okay? And then faith. So I like these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 F's. Your goal is to get all F's. Yay! All right? So, I don't do soccer, but I imagine like if I did this, would that be a good like physical thing that represents force of footwork? Everybody do this. Unless you teach me differently. Yeah. Focus. Everybody do this. Focus. Turn to the person next to you and say, focus. Fun. High five for fun. Fun. Oh, you like to have fun. And faith. Praise the Lord. So now you have a language. Okay? What's the physical? Force of footwork. Mental. Focus. Emotional. High five. Spiritual. Praise the Lord. And take all of that and do it by what? Faith. Who's got one for faith? How about this? Faith. Like we're going somewhere. Okay. Alright? So when you see one of your teammates down and discouraged or angry, what do? Faith. High five, because you have to make it. When you see one of your teammates, when you see your team not focusing, high five. You. Right? And when you see one of your teammates not believing in herself, say, praise the Lord. So, any questions? Do you have any questions? All right, so here's what we're going to do. I want to be sure I got all my notes. Let's pass out the books.
You just like take one and pass it. You just like keep passing it. Keep passing it. Just keep passing it until I find out what.
Any questions? Any questions about anything? Thank you, Sam. So we're gonna take a picture with everybody with the books. Yay! So, all right, girls.
On focus, please, ladies.
This book I wrote before this one. This book is called The Champion's Way, Core Foundations for Achieving Peak Performance in Sports and Life. This is, I put all of this, the system, the framework of thought is in this book. This is online, this is on Amazon, you can get this. You can do this on your own, or I told Coach Sam, if you all would be willing to buy this book, I'll come back and give you another training. And the training I'll give you is the training on this, is forming your identity in Christ. Okay, so I just want you to know that I'm going to do that. This book is, if you open up the book, this is the spiritual dimension. This is the faith piece of all of this. But it's also a training book. So if you go and turn to page 5, I'm actually articulate what a surrendered athlete is. Because this is the integration of faith and your sport. And you'll see the first one is God conscious versus self-conscious. We could probably stop right there. All right? But I have 24 tenets of a surrendered athlete. And one of the greatest one is the ability to play free and not be attached to outcomes because God controls the outcomes. So there's so many dimensions of your faith that relate to your performance. The next part is my story. And if you go to page 10, you can see me there with the putter. The putter is almost as big as I am, holding its right feet. And my dad. My dad died when I was 15. He came down with an unexpected bout with cancer. I only got to play 9 holes with him one time before he died. And I prayed for 10 years. I said, God, would you be my father? Would you walk down the fairways with me? Because how will I know that you love me if I don't know that you care about what I care about? And God came into my game and walked with me. And he will do the same for you. If you go to page 119, you will see the story of a young David slays Goliath. This is the Cameron Hackman story. And you can see his picture on 134. Girls, he's really good looking, by the way. Of him holding the trophy.
What page is that?
134. So there's a lot of stories in here. You don't need to read this from the start. You can pick different stories in different chapters. So the first part of the book is my story. The second part of the book is my training other athletes, and I go into detail of the champion zones. And the last part of the book is a biblical basis of performance. And so I think I'll just conclude with this, but if you will turn to page 179, and I'll wrap up with this.
No rush.
Okay. Are they not going out today?
They'll go out, but
Okay.
we don't have an agenda.
I call this the Big S paradigm of performance. Everybody say Big S.
Yes.
So this is how you were created. This is how God created you. I need somebody to volunteer and play man's body. Come on up. Okay, great. Give her a hand. Okay, I need somebody to come out and play man's mind. Give her a hand. Face me. Yeah, face me. Somebody play man's spirit. Mr. Perfect. garden, before sin came into the world, man was in perfect harmony or correspondence with God. God and man communicated daily, shake and talk. Okay, just, yeah. So the Holy God's Spirit was in control of man's spirit, which was in control of his mind, which was in control, over here, of his body. This is what's called perfect harmony. So when sin came into the world, I need someone to play sin. Oh, you look a good sinner. Okay. Sin came in here and cut off this relationship. So go like this. You can do that. Okay. So man's spirit died to God. So I want you down on your knees. Die. Yeah. Well, she's quite a strong sinner, isn't she? All right. Okay. So this part of man and God was cut off. So then man became master of his own self. Either his body was in control, and in a bad sense, the drug addict, the just the bodybuilder, but the physical defined his identity and worth, or his mind. The whole comparison thing. I'm better than you. The arrogance, like I'm it. All right. So what happens is that when we come to Christ, we have a calling to do what? Not sin. When we come to Christ, our spirit man, just turn towards God. Stay on your knees. God's over here.
I'm God.
Sin is kicked out of the picture.
Goodbye.
So now man is put back in the right relationship with God, but what's the problem here?
They're not connected.
And what else?
They're not. Talking.
Man's spirit is still the weakest thing about him. So you have to renew our mind to make our spirit man, to make our spirit man the strongest thing about us again, because you have access. You have access. And this is called the renewing of the mind. So give him a hand. So in whatever your pursuit is, you want your spirit to be the strongest thing about you. And I'll finish by saying, I don't play for victory, I play from victory. I don't play from score, I play from spirit. I don't care, I tell people, give me a baseball bat and a grapefruit, I'll find a way to get it in the hole. Because my spirit, I've trained my spirit to play. Are you with me? All out for God. So that's all I have time for today. But how many of you would like to learn more? Okay, so we can take up that discussion. But you have access to God. And what does that mean? So this book will inform you in that. And any questions? Any questions? If you go on my website, you can do this on your own, it's truechampionacademy.com. If you go on there, I have a little place where you can sign up for my community for free. And I will send some things to you and you can learn. And then also, is there anything else I wanted to say? We want to take a picture. This whole thing is in a 12-module video series online. And again, if this is something you're interested in personally, you can check that out. So I really enjoyed being with you today. So let's give a word.
Guys, this is what we'll do before you put your stuff on. Grab your books. Let's get up here and get a picture with Miss Veronica.
Oh, you know what? I would love to have the lockers in the background.
Okay,
Yeah.
so back there, Miss
Yeah,
Veronica.
stand up. And some of you might want to stand on the bleachers or whatever.